Hello out there, world. It's your boy Tommy on the spot. Welcome to another edition of Disney 101 after a 1-week hiatus as I went to explore the city of Phoenix, Arizona for the 2019 WWE Royal Rumble. We are back, and it is Super Bowl Sunday, and on the other side of the camera there is my main man, Steve, down in Orlando. Steve, how are you doing this morning?
Good. A little tired, but nothing a little coffee can't solve.
That's right. Well, I mean, it is. This might even be a record for us. I mean, we're starting here at 8:34 in the morning here on the East Coast, and so it's definitely it's definitely a little early, but you know, early to rise. And are you ready for the Super Bowl?
I am. It's kind of like what we were saying a little bit before air. You know, I'm not necessarily rooting for the Patriots because I just don't like them, but I don't really have any other reason to root for the Rams. But my hope is that if the Patriots do end up winning, that Tom Brady goes out on top and retires, so that we don't have to hear about him ever again.
Well, I'm sure he is somebody who I think loves the game, and I expect him to be around for years to come, whether he wins or loses. I do think this will be the swan song for Gronk, though. Gronk is starting to look a little bit like me on the football field, and I don't know. I feel like he's somebody who, if you're rooting for one of these guys, one of these iconic Patriot guys to kind of ride off in the sunset, I think Gronk is someone who you more likely can do that rather than anyone else.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's had a bunch of injuries recently, the past couple of years. He's dealt with a lot, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind going out on top in this being his last season either, and he can just go and, focus on partying and stuff.
That's right. Well, and he's one of his best friends in the world is in WWE. Gronk's had a bunch of runs with WWE, so that seems to be the transition to go. Mojo Rawley for wrestling fans out there. Gronk was a part of WrestleMania once, and I think that's something that he's been interested in. But he's also a guy, if you remember, when he first came into the Patriots, was really kind of he was a system tight end. The idea was that he'd be part of a package with Aaron Hernandez to have a 2 tight end set. But then the whole Aaron Hernandez thing happened, and now Gronk was basically depended on to be the #1 guy and had a great career. But I think this will be I think this is it for him, win or lose.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
So maybe we'll hold off on our actual predictions till the end of the show. But if you guys are getting ready for the Super Bowl, I hope you guys are having a good time. Do you have any plans for the Super Bowl, Steve?
Not so much with the plans. We're actually going out to a Renaissance Fair this afternoon. So it kind of depends on how quickly we get back.
Gotcha. It's not priority #1, in other words.
Yeah, no. So, might go into a bar, dressed like knights or something. Hey, that would be cool.
Oh, there you are. Are you cosplaying during this Ren Fair?
I am. I definitely am.
Very cool. Yeah, that's what you got to do. We are hosting a Super Bowl party today, and so we have anywhere from about 20 to 25 people that'll be coming in here, and it's kind of like our unofficial housewarming / Super Bowl party. But I think of the 20 to 25 guests, I think like actual real football fans, it's probably more like 7 or 8. So you're going to have a lot of people just kind of hanging out and I guess getting ready for Maroon 5 at halftime. So we'll see. But yesterday I know that you went over to, are you okay over there?
No, yeah, no, I'm good.
I know yesterday you guys made your way over to Epcot's Festival of the Arts. You put up some photos over on our official Twitter at Disney 101 Pod. How was your trip over there?
It was good, and there are a couple of more pictures to come that I didn't get an opportunity to load up, but it was actually pretty good. The crowds were on the smaller side, which is good for the middle of February, or beginning of February. Kind of expected.
Pretty packed, right?
Hmm?
February is usually pretty packed, right?
February usually isn't.
Okay.
You might see a spike in President's Week.
That's when I always used to go as a kid, and it was pretty treacherous because also isn't the Daytona 500 around that time?
I think it might be, yeah. But we're about 2 hours away from Daytona.
Right, it's far. But I know when we'd go down there, Daytona would be there, and we'd usually split our time between Daytona and Orlando. So
Yeah.
Daytona was super packed, and then we felt like some of the crowds kind of carried over. But February is a great time to go because it's also not really too hot.
No, not. I mean, it actually started to warm up yesterday, but before then, all this week, it's been in like the 60s.
Oh wow,
So, yeah,
great.
we got that polar vortex too.
Well,
I
when we
can't say that with a straight face. I'm sorry.
well when we had it was really it was a crazy week for us because about around this time last week, a couple days before this time last week, we were in Flagstaff, Arizona, where the temperatures are about 30 to 35 degrees. Really cold, like freezing cold in Flagstaff. But then when we traveled like 2 hours to go to Phoenix, the temperatures were at like 70 to 75, which for them is like freezing because they're getting up to 120 dry air, dry
Hmm.
heat during the summer. So it suddenly got like really hot. And then we got off the plane and it went from like 75 in Phoenix to 5 here in New York. So it was, it
Whoa.
was insane and just terrible. So, uh, but it's one of these things where right now, at least, I mean, today here in New York, we're going to be up into the 50s. So can't complain. But one of the things, so what? I guess kind of give us the abbreviated play-by-play of what you guys did yesterday and some of the cooler things that you saw at the Festival of the Arts.
So we took a couple of laps around the World Showcase, which is where most of the, if you're looking just to kind of scratch the surface a little bit for the Festival of the Arts, that's the place to hit up, because you have most of the things that you're going to be looking at as far as the food. Now, the food, unlike, the Food and Wine Festival, the food isn't really the focal point of the Festival of the Arts, although it is a great addition to it because a lot of it focuses on presentation. So you get a lot of really cool looking food, especially, if you're looking for those Instagram pics or if you're, just one for really good presentation. A lot of the Festival of the Arts food really lends itself to that. So that's really cool to go and check out. One of the good things is that most of the time you can kind of just then kind of peek outside some of the food kiosks so that you can see it coming out. So you can kind of just see what it looks like. Oh, that looks really cool. There's the deconstructed kiosk that has the deconstructed Reuben that I didn't get a chance to have this year, but I had it last year and it was really good. And just a lot of other really interesting looking dishes. A couple that I got, I was looking a little bit of presentation, but also a little bit of trying some new stuff and trying some stuff that I thought was going to be interesting. And I was pretty satisfied with what I ordered.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you started. I believe you said with a dish from Morocco, correct?
Yeah, it was Morocco, so it was like almost like ground beef with some pine nuts, some dried cranberries, and some hummus and pita chips, and
Oh
it was
wow,
good. But yeah,
wow, that does
yeah.
sound good. Now
Uh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's okay. And then I had Mexico. There was it was like a slow cooked pork with beans and like almost like a baked corn pastry on the bottom, kind of.
Mm, gotcha.
And then I had the what I usually it's almost like a rainbow cookie as far as like the taste and consistency, but it's laid out flat so you can see all the different colors and stuff. So it's really cool.
Oh, that is
I'll
really
post a
that's
picture of it
awesome.
later. Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. And then so one of the things I thought was interesting was the photo you put up of Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast. And so, what is it about the special? What was it? Secret characters? You said?
It's like they're not usually there for that. So it's almost like when people go around and try and find hidden Mickeys. And so if you're not really familiar with it, there are hidden Mickey silhouettes. So you got, the three concentric circles with his head and the ears. And that little symbol is put in a lot of different places throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. It's in the parks, it's in the hotels, it's everywhere. And
It's
there's
in the
actually a
movie.
guide that they sell that will tell you, kind of tell you where it is. It's even on some rides and some stuff like that. So it'll tell you where all those hidden Mickeys are, and they come in a bunch of different shapes and sizes.
Now we've even seen them in some movies, right? Isn't there like a Marvel movie where there's randomly a hidden Mickey somewhere?
Yeah, they'll sometimes sneak it into movies too. Yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
So the little Easter eggs all throughout the park. So in kind of going up to that, they also added some Disney characters that they've put in the World Showcase, and it's just kind of in random spots. And most of the time, it's going to be characters that fit with the country. So, for example, Lumiere was in,
Well, he was in the Beauty and the Beast.
right? So where was he?
Oh, so he was in France.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so
Uh,
there's Lumiere was in France, and he was actually I don't know if you caught it in the picture, but he was right. He wasn't. So he was on the wall, but there was a sconce, like a lighting sconce, that was kind of close to him. That he was. It was like looking like he was going to light it.
that's
And
cool.
so like with the, I don't know if I got the angle quite right. But there's that, and it's actually right outside the ice cream shop that's in the back towards the back of the France Pavilion. Um, and there's a bunch of all of those like strewn about. So it's really cool to kind of go and try and find those, especially if you've been to the park 1,000 times. It is definitely something new for you to try and find and check out.
And how many do you think there were, like in total?
Uh, there were at least one per country. So,
Oh,
and there were definitely a couple of different ones strewn about all throughout. So I didn't like, it was because we were with friends and I wasn't really, I didn't think to focus on it until I saw the Lumiere one. I was like,
uh,
oh right, there are all those characters, and so I know there's the one in China where it's Mushu that like blew a hole in a wall, and he's just like looking at it surprised.
really?
And
That's awesome.
there's a bunch of other ones, yeah. I think there were definitely two or three more in France.
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's something to, that as you said there. Now were your friends from out of town that came, or were they also Floridians?
They are also Floridians, but they one just got her annual pass.
Ah,
So they're not, ex cast members like we are that are, know the park in and out. It's still, even though they're Florida residents and they might have an annual pass, it's just because financially it makes a little bit more sense for
right.
most of us Floridians.
Yeah,
Um,
they're
so it's
not
still,
they're not grizzled young Disney fans.
no.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah,
but so it's still cool to walk around with them because it's still, seeing the park with slightly fresher eyes.
I got you. Yeah, no, that's that does sound really cool. And at the same time, though, it's good that Disney does those little things there. That I mean, clearly from when you put that photo up there, there was a bunch of folks that loved seeing the Lumiere there, and I think whatever for some of the folks that are Disney fanatics, seeing that type stuff gets people excited because it's something completely different. And I feel like anything that's different. Yeah, obviously garners excitement from the Disney fanatic. That's why, I mean, I know one of the things that came out, and we can kind of talk about it a little bit, is the was it a pin, a Disney pin with Figment from Imagination?
There's a bunch of different stuff. So there's, I mean, I think you're thinking about the magnet.
Well, there was something that was for annual pass holders that was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. So there's a Figment car magnet. So they've done a bunch of different magnets in the past. There's Mickey, Minnie, and Donald. I don't know if there's a Goofy one, but it's probably coming. Yeah, Mickey, Minnie, and Donald. And usually they're for these events. So there's one for like the Flower and Garden Festival, one for Food and Wine Festival, and so there's one for Festival of the Arts. So if you are an annual pass holder, there's two places to get it. You can either get it at Mouse Gear, or you can get it at the port of entry, which is if you're walking towards the World Showcase, and you see those big two gift shops that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. If you go to the one on the right, there's just a little podium there, and you go right up to the cast member there. They scan your Magic Band or your park ticket, your annual pass ticket, and they give you out the magnet for free. So it's really cool.
oh, they give it to you for free.
Yeah,
Oh, very good. Were you able to get one?
yeah,
Oh, nice. Very cool. And now I'm
yeah.
sure like there's probably a bunch of folks who try to resell these all over the place.
I mean, I'm sure there is. I'm sure if you go on eBay, I'm sure there's a bunch. But that is one of those things that they were trying to crack down on.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things where you do at your own risk, and don't be surprised if then you get an email from Disney saying, "Hey, by the way, your annual pass has been revoked."
Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
So, I mean, if that's worth it to you to try and make $20 off of a magnet or something, by all means.
And it's a
Uh,
neat thing too. Because wait, so you need to have an annual pass in order to get this.
yeah, they scan it to make sure that that you have an annual pass and then you get it.
Oh, that's really cool.
But
But
everybody can get one. Um, so if you are a multi-annual pass household and don't have the need for multiple, I'm sure you could find someone that that could get one for you.
oh, gotcha. So like you and Amanda both have one.
Yeah,
You and your wife both are annual pass holders,
yeah,
and you both might nesters. So me, Joe Blow, who's really wants the magnet, can stand there and kind of wait till somebody comes by and goes and gets one and say, "Hey, is there any way I can get it?" And Disney's not going to care if you do that.
Not really. It's
Well,
more Disney is more of the if we give you something for free and then you turn around and make money off of it, that's a no-no. If
right.
we give you something for free and then you give it away for free, hey, whatever. But if you're giving something away for free, if we are giving something to you for free and then you turn around and make money off of it, that's a no-no.
Mm. Well, that makes sense too, to a certain extent. But it's cool that they don't care because, like, I saw those. Somebody yesterday on our Twitter had the Figment magnet. I thought it was pretty cool, and I was like, it kind of stinks that I can't have the option to get one. So
And it's one of those perks that they like to throw out for annual pass holders, and because annual pass holders, along with DVC members and everybody else, we love exclusive free swag. So
right.
it will encourage you to say, hey, if you like that stuff enough, then you should, maybe try and look into getting an annual pass or something like that.
So will there be one for Flower and Garden when it comes out? Because that's coming up in about a month, right?
Yeah, it's coming up. I think in the end of March, beginning of April, something around that time. So yeah, I'm sure there will be one for Flower and Garden too.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, very cool. It sounds like Festival of the Arts was a now. Does this also have like artists there as well?
Yeah. So along with just the food, there's a lot of different art kiosks. There's little alcoves and stuff that you can go, and there's a bunch of different paintings and sketches and all of that stuff. Some are from some of the more famous Disney artists, and some are just some aren't labeled as an artist as from a particular artist per se. They're just kind of there. I didn't really get a lot of pictures of that because they don't really like you to take pictures of the paintings and stuff.
Of course, yeah.
But it's so cool. A lot of them I really liked. There was one that just had Star Wars stuff, and all of the paintings were really, really cool, really, really well done. And there's a few that are kind of like from some of the more famous Disney artists. When you go around, and sometimes they're actually there to either help promote their stuff or to sign stuff. Sometimes there are meet and greet opportunities. And then beyond that, there is also the Broadway concert series, where you have Broadway stars that are coming that were on Broadway doing Disney performances.
Here in New York City.
Yeah, New York City.
Oh, wow.
And other places. And so they'll actually go and they will perform at the stage where you see a lot of other bands performing during like Flower and Garden, Food and Wine Festival. So they come and they do performances, and usually they'll sing songs from whatever show they were on.
That's really neat. Yeah, good. That's cool. Yeah, I know that right now I think Disney has they have obviously Lion King, which has been long-standing. They have Aladdin, which I've seen, which is great. And then they also have Frozen now as well. So they have three different. They might even have something else too.
They also have Beauty and the Beast. There was
Wow.
Little Mermaid.
There's definitely a Little Mermaid. I remember that.
Yeah, Princess Notre Dame. Yeah. So and then also I think I want to say there was some other one that they just announced that might be coming. I want to say Hercules.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, that's cool. So they kind of appeal to all different, and I'm assuming that all these artists are making Disney art.
Yeah. So and then there's a lot of other actually there's also a couple of places where they do over by the formerly Ellen's Energy Adventure, where the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is going to be going. There's 3D chalk art that they were doing, where depending on where it's kind of like that the point of view where depending on where you are actually standing and looking at it, it looks like the chalk art is actually coming out of the ground.
Real? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so that's really cool too. And there's a bunch of other. It's just all around Epcot. And also, if you go into the Art Center, they do demonstrations. If you go into the Odyssey Center, which is that little, we had mentioned it a couple of weeks ago that they just recently remodeled. If you go inside there, that's kind of in between Test Track and Mexico. They do animation drawing classes, so you can learn to draw a bunch of different Disney characters, which is really cool. There's just a lot of different stuff to go around and experience. And that's one of the things that I love about the Festival of the Arts. It's more than, with the Food and Wine Festival, most of the time you just go around and you do, you go and look at all the food and all the wine and all of that stuff. And most of the stuff, if you want to do anything extra, it costs extra. But most of the Festival of the Arts stuff, it's, included. And I don't want to say it's free, but, it's included with your ticket where you just go and walk around and experience all the different stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. It sounds like you could really make a whole day of it. Did you guys stay the whole day or?
We stayed until like late afternoon
Oh, nice.
because part of it, yeah, was, Amanda was getting kind of tired because she's been having some issues with her back.
Uh,
Um, yeah, but so we stayed as long as we could and we got to experience a lot of the stuff that we wanted to.
Very cool. Well, it sounds like you guys had a great time, and now Festival of the Arts will eventually become Flower and Garden, right?
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be, there's usually a little bit of a kind of a layover in between the two. I was trying to get the exact date. So, Festival of the Arts is going until the 25th of February.
Okay.
And then let's see.
Flower and Garden has been the one that for a couple of years I ended up randomly being in park for. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, when we had, because we had our wedding in April, that was one of the days.
Yeah.
So it starts on March 6th.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So
and we'll go until June 3rd.
Gotcha. So that's how we've seen it because it's there for a longer period of time. It's been there for 3 months.
Definitely. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Moving along here, we could mention about, because kind of a good segue you had talked about was this idea of Disney cracking down on some of the folks who are trying to, I guess, kind of buck the system when it comes to, getting something for free and then trying to kind of, or getting it and I guess you could buy it and then resell it, right? Because I do see here that they're putting out a new that looks really cool, a new 3rd edition Krakatoa Punch Tiki mug, which is like a red one. Looks really cool. Like you could probably buy that and resell it. I guess. I guess they don't care too much.
So, yeah, all of the Trader Sam's cups, especially the limited edition ones or anything new or anything. Most of the cups that you'd either get at Disneyland's Trader Sam's or Disney World's Trader Sam's. Because they're different from both. Anytime you get any sort of souvenir glass, people are going to be like, oh, well, why do I have to go all the way over there and buy the drink myself when I can just go onto eBay and get it, when someone else has already given it to me.
Right.
Yeah, so that's also definitely a no-no.
Yeah, they don't like that too much either. Yeah. Well, one of the other things that I was surprised was something that until now people have been doing is the idea that people, I guess, have been making Disney World resort hotel reservations and then booking their fast passes. And then after this, they were keeping the fast passes, but they were canceling their Disney World Resort hotel reservation. So beginning tomorrow, February 4th, Disney has fixed this loophole and is basically, according to Disney sources, they're removing any FastPass reservations created with a then canceled resort reservation, which basically says that the folks that, and I'm getting this off of WDW News today, this fixes a loophole in the FastPass system where a guest could book a Disney World Resort hotel reservation to take advantage of a 60-day advance fast booking window and subsequently cancel the reservation. The guest would then have kept the harder to obtain FastPass reservations they had booked with their fraudulent extended booking window. It's worth noting that this was already done in most cases where guests canceled before the 30-day window entered validity. Guests who canceled their resort reservation after this point never had any FastPass reservations deleted. So they're saying that you were able to keep this going if you had that?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, so you can make so the whole thing is that so you make a resort reservation for that 60-day window in order to get fast passes because the only people that can book 60 days in advance are people that are staying at Walt Disney World Resort. So you make that resort reservation. That's so say it's February 3rd. I'm going to make one from 60 days from now, which is when I intend to go down to Disney World. Wherever I am. Maybe I'm not staying at Disney. Maybe I'm staying off property. Maybe I'm a Florida resident that I'm going for the day or something. So I'm going to make that resort reservation for now for 60 days in advance. Because I'm 60 days out, I only have to put a deposit down. I don't have to pay it in full or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and make that reservation. And now that has triggered my ability to make fast passes because I have a ticket and stuff in already. So I'm going to make those fast passes. And then if I cancel my resort reservation, it doesn't automatically cancel the fast passes. So now you take that other part out that, that bridge that allowed you to make those fast passes, you cancel that. You're not, you get all of your money back and everything because you canceled more than 31 days out. So you get all of your money back and everything. And now you still have your fast passes. And that was it's one of those things where it's not something that people did a lot because, you really have to kind of be going through all of the hassle of doing that in order to just get fast passes. But it was happening enough where Disney said, okay, this is kind of getting ridiculous, guys. Enough is enough.
Yeah. So I guess people were doing this quite a bit.
Yeah. So, like the article states that there's two different reasons why it's good that this is happening. It allows resorts to keep rooms in inventory, so you're not taking those rooms out that people actually want to reserve. And it's also making it more fast passes available for people that are actually coming to Walt Disney World, or that you get the advantage that you're meant to get, and you don't get the advantage you're not meant to get.
Oh wow, that's cool. Wow, very very cool. Well, part of the idea, I guess, behind that also, but part of the idea, I guess, behind that as well is this is coming out right when we're just a couple months away from Star Wars Galaxy Edge, so I'm sure Disney's trying to get involved, out ahead of that, so that folks can't, I'm sure people will be booking up hotels here and there, and then canceling, and then getting their, fast passes for that was probably an idea of a lot of people who were trying to do this.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And, they probably saw it with Toy Story Land when that came out. And they were like, how are all of these fast passes already taken when we don't really have that many people staying? Oh, right. It's because we have these people that are, making the resort reservations, and then canceling them. You can see how many people cancel a reservation. And if you see all of these, reservations that are popping up, 60 days before July 4th, and then all of a sudden, suddenly all of them are canceled, you can kind of start to see a pattern here.
Damn, that's well, hey, good for them, and it makes sense for Disney to jump on and get and jump ahead of this. So it's very cool. One of the things also I remember when we came down in like 2013, you were telling us about how there was going to be changes to the Aerosmith, the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, which I guess is the proper name of said attraction. There won't be any changes to the ride now currently. I remember, what was it? Wasn't it like rumored to be Miley Cyrus, but like when she was still Hannah Montana?
That was a very, very far-fetched rumor. But yeah, it was, when Hannah Montana was at its height of popularity, there was a rumor going around that it was going to be, a Hannah Montana themed.
That would have just been that would have been crazy because the character didn't last. Like, that was not a timeless character. So
right, I mean, at least Aerosmith has been around for the better part of, I don't know, 40 years or something like that. Like,
well, Disneyland Paris announced this week that they are ending Aerosmith, the Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith, starring Aerosmith. That will be closing in September. Did you hear what's replacing it?
No, I didn't.
It is going to be an Iron Man attraction.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be something that's kind of cool and reason to head down to Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris also announced that they're going to be also unloading the new Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Runaway Railway?
Something like that, yeah.
Which is totally right up the alley for Disneyland Paris. I'm surprised because when we went to Disneyland Paris last year, there wasn't much in the way of Marvels. So it's cool to see that they're kind of now embracing that. And, they, we could always do an episode on my review there. They seem to really have stopped updating too much after like a certain point. There was years where they were, there was years when Disneyland Paris just doesn't acknowledge. It seems like they stop almost at like Toy Story. So it's good to see Disneyland Paris is doing that. But the Runaway Railway, right when I heard that was announced, I was like, this seems like an attraction Disneyland Paris will really embrace. So, good to see that they're doing that. An Iron Man attraction, an Iron Man roller coaster would be something I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. And there was also a rumor very recently that it was going to be rebranded to Mickey's Rock and Roller Coaster because there was a lot of merchandise that came out for the ride that had Mickey front and center. And I think there was actually one t-shirt that says Mickey's Rock and Roller Coaster on it. So that's when they were like, oh, is it changing? Like, what's going on? And then nothing came of it. So it kind of just went away with everything else coming along. Yeah,
well, I mean, and I feel like those rumors are kind of something that are a dime a dozen when it comes to different things. Yeah. That's kind of just kind of something that goes through. Now I know you wanted to talk about something, but I wanted to quickly mention because I do see that one of the things I thought, what comes with the Epcot's International Flower and Garden Festival, and I wanted to kind of circle back to this. I know we talked a little bit about it earlier. Is obviously the Garden Rocks concert series. Talked about how we mentioned a couple weeks ago. There was the people who were doing the Christmas deal, but we didn't mention that any of the artists that are doing the concert series. So they did announce some of these. Do you want me to run through these relatively quickly as to who's going to be performing?
Please do.
Some of these are like, I feel like I know a lot of these guys have been there many, many occasions. But March 6th to the 8th, Journey is going to be there. I guess that they have a new lead vocalist, so they're going to be doing their deal.
So it's just Steve Algeri, which is the former vocalist of Journey. It's not the whole band.
Oh, is that okay? So the original vocalist from Journey is him?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So they just had a falling out?
I think they broke up a long time ago.
I knew that they had a different guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize. I always wondered. I assume. I hate to say it, but I assume that he passed away, which is pretty grim. Wow. So the original vocalist for Journey is going to be doing "Don't Stop Believing." Okay,
yep.
that's kind of cool.
Actually, and they had I don't know if it was for Flower and Garden or Food and Wine Festival. They also had the former lead singer of the Eagles. He was on there too.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they get a lot of the classic rock guys. They are big in Disney.
Well, they seem to really appeal to the parents, I guess. Yeah, because there really isn't too many. I'm surprised to see there's not like a bunch of Disney Channel folks who also sing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right, like they could be somebody from I don't know any of the Disney Channel shows these days, but I know some of them are very, very popular. And I could see, I know Girl Meets World is off the air, but that's the last one I watched, and it was they could have the kid from that doing a something.
Yeah,
that would, kind of make it work. But continuing down on this list here, so they have Glass Tiger, a band who is new to Garden Rocks, and also somebody I'm not too familiar with. Next up, John Anderson from the band Yes, Tony Orlando. Tony Orlando, Jesus, is not 3 times singer. Simple Plan, who I feel like I'm not 100% convinced, but something tells me that the band Simple Plan has actually taken a permanent residency in one of the Walt Disney World resorts because they seem to be a part of everything all year round.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're Canadian. Actually, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure they're from Orlando because like half of the Warped Tour lineup this year was from Florida. But no, yeah, they're Canadian, so maybe that's why.
I mean, yeah, no, they. Next up is Ambrosia, Magic Giant, Air Supply, who's new to Garden Rocks. Not too. I've heard the name, but I don't know them too well. Berlin, featuring Terry Nunn, the Smithereens, who's also new to Garden Rocks. Rick Springfield, my lord. Christopher Cross, also new to Garden Springs. The Spinners, Dennis DeYoung, the original member of the group Styx. John Michael Montgomery, Sister Sledge, Night Ranger, Sister Hazel, who's also new to Garden Rocks. So Sister Hazel was big in that kind of period of time when like Hootie and the Blowfish was big, right?
Yeah, yeah, early '90s, like mid '90s. I think that, now they're called like adult contemporary. That like inoffensive pop rock. Like Dave Matthews Band like type.
Well, this list really feels like right after there was like a period of time when the Super Bowl was like doing everything to make sure there's no chance of any controversy after Justin Timberlake did the whole deal with
Nipplegate.
Nipplegate, right. So because of that, every year after that was like Tom Petty, U2. This is kind of what this list is reading like. But John Michael Montgomery, Sister Sledge, we said those, but Steve Curtis Chapman, Toby Mac, Lone Star. Lone Star is a very popular country band. At least was, I thought. So they have Lone Star, the orchestra starring former members of ELO, Herman's Hermits starring Peter Noon, Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. There you go.
Yeah, that's the one that we saw last year.
Was he good?
He was actually, yeah, he was really good. And it was, it was funny because it was like 90% people that are our parents' age and then 10% their children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure there's the Disney enthusiast who, has that pass. If you have an annual pass, this could be your, entire spring worth of concert because these are all included, right?
Yeah, they're all free and everything. So I'm pretty sure. So last year it had to have been around Mother's Day because we took my mom out to. We went to Teben Edo. We went to Japan for lunch, and then we went and did the dining package, which got you reserved seating for the concert, and we did it for Don Felder.
Very cool.
I think it was for Mother's Day. It was either from it had to have been Mother's Day. Yeah,
that's very, very cool. Next is Flock of Seagulls, the Marshall Tucker Band, who's new to Garden Rocks, Richard Marx, who's also new to Garden Rocks, Starship starring Mickey Thomas, Colin Hay of Men at Work, War, The Guess Who, John Cicada, and Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So I'm guessing these are probably about like 45-minute long sets or something like that because it seems like
I think they're all about a half hour or so, half hour to 45 minutes.
Makes sense, yeah, because they have three, which is good because if you're down there in town and they have three each day, if you don't get a good spot, you can always hang out to the next set.
Yeah,
but cool deal, and something else that they kind of give you with the Food and Wine Festival. Now, I've never seen one of these sets, but it's cool that they also do that reserved seating if you go and get a dining reservation.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a lot of these, it's the dining packages aren't crazy. Like, it's not like you're paying that much more for the dining package to get the reserved seating. So if you're interested in doing lunch at one of the sit-down restaurants at Epcot, I would totally do it. I would totally recommend doing it because it's a cool. It's also cool to just kind of like say, hey, we have this reserved seating. We don't have to worry about rushing and getting a good seat. Most of the time for the Flower and Garden Festival, it's not as needed as for Food and Wine Festival. Food and Wine Festival definitely gets a lot more crowded. Especially for some of the bigger acts. Like of all the acts that I've seen, Hanson is one of the ones that every time. Like there are people that will camp out for the late show in the afternoon to
Wow.
get the good seat. Yeah, so there are some bands that actually do draw a decent crowd. Um, but just because of the fact that most of the time the crowds aren't as bad during Flower and Garden Festival, you don't need it as much. But like I said, we did it for Mother's Day, which was it was a nice little
Nice day there. It seems like,
yeah, it was a nice day. So if you have a birthday or some other sort of special event to do, it's definitely like a nice little perk.
and is this in like stadium seating, or is this you get to kind of do it like in the middle? Where is it? Is this like out and about where these concerts take place?
So when you walk into the American Adventure, to the right over the water, there's the theater that's right there.
Oh yeah.
It's in there. So it's bench seating, but it's not like bleachers. It's regular, park benches. So they're comfortable enough, and it's there's no with the reserved seating. It's not like you get your own seat. It's just there's a certain area that they fence off or that they rope off
Oh, okay.
for everybody to make sure that everybody that reserved gets their own seat. And then like 5 minutes before opening or something like that, they'll open it up.
Wow, very cool. That's that sounds as you said, a very cool day there.
Yeah.
Before we got on air, we were talking a little bit about because I was so surprised that kind of my I guess my nephew through marriage asked me to subscribe to his YouTube channel. And he's about 14 years old. So this got us into a conversation about streaming and the popularity of video game streaming, which is just blowing up. And obviously, we're live streaming now. We do some live streaming on here for our show. But what was, you had said something about the game through Disney, Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not that it's necessarily new, but I just think it's interesting that this kind of thing happens. There is a right on the, like the title page or the main menu page of Kingdom Hearts 3, which is an awesome game, by the way. I haven't played too much of it, but it's really I love it because I love RPGs and I love Disney. So hey.
Is this game for like PlayStation or
It's
Xbox?
for PlayStation 4 and Xbox.
Oh, very cool.
Hopefully, yeah, because originally most of the old ones were just for PlayStation, and I never had a PlayStation. I had the first one, but I didn't have any of the other ones, so I was kind of left out for most of them. I have a couple for the DS, but that's it. Um, yeah, basically there are a lot of different like Fortnite is a huge one that people are always streaming. Ninja makes millions of dollars for each
Oh
time
yeah.
he goes on and plays the game. So like crazy how this is. E athletes are a thing. um
And
yeah so
is the hope and deal with this like kind of like a de facto strategy guide where back when I'd play video games, you'd go and pay like $20 and you'd get like a magazine that would go through all the strategy guides. Is that why
uh,
people watch people do this?
I mean, probably partially, but also it's a thing. Like it's a phenomenon where people will go on and watch people play this game. Like it's not, a lot of times it's just for fun.
Oh,
Like people are just saying, like, hey, I got some time to kill. Like, let me go and watch, let me watch Ninja or let me watch any of these other, especially on Twitch. Um, it's huge for that, for tons of other different games. I watch a show where a bunch of voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons.
oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so, but it's, I mean, I think that's a little bit different. I don't know. But anyway, um, so basically there's a disclaimer on the page, and it says this game is a copyrighted work. The copyright is held by the Walt Disney Company and a collaboration of authors representing the Walt Disney Company. Additionally, the copyright of certain characters is held by Square Enix Company Limited. You are free to stream this game in non-commercial context. However, using streams of the game to primarily provide or listen to the music is prohibited even in such non-commercial context. For more information on the terms of use relating to streaming the game, please see the official Kingdom Hearts site. Give us a link for the site.
That's interesting. So their main focus isn't even like I think they're probably aware of people stream this and monetize their streaming. they don't even seem to really care about that. They seem more to care about the music aspect of it.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense because music for video games is a fairly big deal. Um, actually, the stream that I mentioned, it's called Critical Role. A lot of times, to get into the mood, you'll play some sort of music, and since it's an RPG and Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop RPG, to get into the mood and the theming, a lot of times you'll want to play some sort of music. And video game music is great for that kind of stuff. But because, hey, it's copyrighted, you can't be playing copyrighted music on your stream if you're making money, because in theory, that music is helping you make money. And it goes back to that thing where they don't want you to make money off of something that they already made and they're giving to you already.
Gotcha.
Which, I mean, it's part of the whole idea behind copyrights to begin with, right?
Right, of course. I'm
So,
very surprised that these video games don't care that people are out there playing them and then streaming that they're playing them.
I mean, it is a little bit where they're still getting that advertisement out there. So if you see someone watching, if you go onto Twitch and watch someone play Kingdom Hearts 3, you're kind of like, oh man, I got to get me some of that too. I got to go and get me a copy of Kingdom Hearts 3. But to try and say, hey, I'm going to stream this. I'm just going to stream it so that you can listen to the music, and then you can take the music, and then now you have that part of it. You know, that's a part of it that you can kind of try and grab onto and keep. No, that having someone watch around, like playing the video game, that's not really going to do you a whole lot, but being able to somehow download the music, that's a part that you can kind of hold on and keep, and that will actually do something.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, and it's something I know that, for example, I get all the time through my wrestling YouTube channel, Watch Along Wrestling, where a lot of the stuff I do is live streaming, and there's a live episode of Raw, there's a live pay-per-view that's going on, and I'll put up, hey, we're gonna live stream this tonight, and folks tune in. Poor Steve over there. Are you okay over there?
Yeah, no, just I had to like go away a little bit so I cough so I'm not coughing right in the.
I didn't know if your cough there had taken you across the room. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I live stream on there with a lot of pay-per-views, different shows like that, and people can hear the audio, but a lot of folks hate on it a little bit. While most of the folks understand it and enjoy it, and we have a good time watching together, people understand that's what it is. Whereas you always get the folks who are like, oh, come on. Can you live stream the real show instead? Can you show the full stream of Monday Night Raw? Or can you just show the live stream of the pay-per-view that, I don't want to pay for? And that's obviously a huge problem. If I did that and I was like, hey, I'm going to do commentary over this show that WWE uses to sell their streaming service, I'll probably get shut down pretty quick. Because I don't own the rights to that. WWE wants to sell that as something that they want to do, or USA, who broadcasts Raw, isn't going to allow that. But with the audio and with me talking about it, they probably don't care as much, because it's like, again, they're thinking, oh, someone's listening to this and going, oh crap, I want to watch this too. Let me go and find somewhere to get it off of legal means, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of there's a fine line between something that's entertainment value versus something that's trying to infringe on someone else making money. That's why a lot of YouTube video, if you try and look up like like an episode of a TV show or something, sometimes they're on there in their entirety. Sometimes it's like played and like mirrored, so it's like backwards.
Yes.
Or it's someone filming it, from their TV, or something like that, where we have the technology where you can just rip something off of a DVD or or whatever and put it up on YouTube. That's not the issue. The issue is when, you have it where it's a copyright and that company says, hey, that's ours. You can't, I'm not letting you do that. So take it down.
Yeah, exactly. So good stuff here. Is there anything else you wanted to get into before we wrap it up and get on out of here?
There was one thing. And the only way that I can think of a segue is, speaking of Walt Disney World making an absurd amount of money, have you heard of the VIP tour called World of Dreams?
I have not heard about this.
Oh, don't look it up yet.
I will not. I will not
So,
look it up.
so there is a new VIP tour called World of Dreams. It's being offered at Walt Disney World. I'm going to skip over the cost because I
Okay.
want you to guess how much you think it is.
Oh God.
It is for up to 6 guests and is 12 hours long. 2 tour guides will conduct each tour. And so here's what you get for the most part. Here's the breakdown. So you get backstage access and transportation, front of the line attraction access, a tour of the Cinderella Castle Dream Suite,
Oh my gosh.
exclusive nighttime spectacular viewing spaces, all meals included, 3 a day with select alcohol, access to any restaurant at Walt Disney World, no normal reservations needed, and many more possibilities based on guest request.
Wow. Oh man. Now is this priced per person or priced for the group?
I believe it's per group because it says the tour costs X amount of money for up to 6 guests. So I'm guessing it's going to be for the group.
Gotcha. Now I'm probably thinking this is either going to be way over or way under, but I'm going to guess $595. Not even close. It's way too little. Not even in the ballpark. Um, is it over a grand?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's over a grand per person.
Oh my gosh. So this is like $7,000 to do this? Oh
Keep
my
keep
God,
going.
more than
Keep going.
that?
Keep going. Keep going.
Is this $10,000?
Keep going.
Oh my gosh. And this is just one day.
Yep.
This really is a world of dreams
12
here.
hours.
Wow. Is it $14,000?
12,000.
$12,000. My
Twelve
gosh.
thousand dollars for backstage access and transportation, front of the line
What is
attraction access.
backstage access and transportation? Is that you're getting like
So that means you're not going through the main entrance. You're magically transported through other means to get into the park,
oh my
which is fairly common for backstage for the VIP tours. When I worked at Tomorrowland a lot, we were a popular area that for entrance because we were a popular way to for other vehicles and stuff like service vehicles and other stuff because of the way that everything is kind of situated. That part of the park is a very popular entrance. I saw a lot of celebrities on the VIP tours coming in and out of the Tomorrowland entrance. Um,
Gotcha.
so it's kind of
Wow.
a popular time, because it's fairly, don't want to say hidden, but definitely very out of the way, and it gets you right into the heart of the park immediately. So you're not going through, okay. Imagine if you were paying $12,000 and then you had to park your car at the Ticket and Transportation Center and then take the tram over to the Ticket and Transportation Center and then
Pretty
have to
bad.
take the monorail, the ferry boat over. Like, if I'm paying $12,000, I am getting door to door access.
Yeah.
So it's back, so you have that personalized air conditioned van that's going from one place to another. You get front of the line attraction access, which is, basically unlimited fast passes. Not even, it is again, kind of when we were at, for example, like Buzz Lightyear, basically they would come in through the gift shop, come right to the end of the line, and then we would get you on where the exit is, and you wouldn't even go into the regular line. You would go through the backstage area. I saw like Drew Brees do that and a few other people. It's a very, for VIP tours, it's a very fairly popular practice to get them on, in like the back of the ride or to get them somewhere where like I don't want to say the public, but like, basically where you're doing this privately and then they just go off.
Yeah,
Um,
we had one where we were online for Symphony Swings in Disneyland. Great underrated attraction, by the way. But while we were online for it, we were like next, and they came and they were like, "Hey, I'm really so sorry. We're gonna have to cut you off right here for routine maintenance." And it wasn't maintenance; they just had some like bougie folks come on,
yeah.
ride the attraction, and they gave all of us like fast passes throughout the day.
Yeah. So yeah. So the thing that jumps out to me, honestly, is the Castle Dream Suite tour
Yeah, because
because
you never
that
heard
is
about that.
yeah. So there is a I don't want to call it a hotel room, but there's a suite in the Cinderella's castle that it's usually reserved for either contest winners or the very rare Make a Wish
Right.
family. very rarely. But usually it's some sort of contest where they'll raffle it off or something. Um, or the VIP tour apparently. So exclusive nighttime spectacular viewing spaces, which means you're getting VIP, for whatever fireworks or Fantasmic or whatever, getting VIP access there. All meals included to any restaurant on Walt Disney World. So so I mean, if you do breakfast, lunch, and dinner at, like the most expensive signature dining restaurant that you can think of, you're starting to get close to maybe a little, like maybe $1,000 per person.
Right.
But like,
That is.
like
I
this is
think also
so,
part of the tour. Like if you're a Disney fanatic, that holy grail of being able to go to that suite is huge. But I think also getting that tour, right? Like
yeah.
if you have someone there, the tour guides are really big on probably having knowledge to things that no one else knows about. So you can probably just soak that up while you're doing everything else as well.
Yeah. So if you do the tour for one day, that's the $12,000. Each additional day is only $10,000.
Wow. This is totally geared towards the celebrity, though.
This is the celebrity. This is the, people that have more money than they know what to do with. Like,
Well, and I mean, I've heard like Zach Ryder, who's a wrestler who's obsessed. If you ever go on his Instagram, he's at Disney all the time. And he talks about how he always pays for some sort of VIP tour because of the fact that otherwise it's kind of interrupting his day. It's constant, you're going from one attraction to the other. I don't know how many people are running after Zach Ryder for autographs, but apparently enough to where it's, I'm sure if it's, let's say you said Drew Brees. Drew Brees is at the park. Everyone knows Drew Brees. Drew Brees is probably not making it to the next attraction without having to pose for 100 photos and having to take, sign a bunch of autographs. And it's probably really annoying.
yeah. And I'm sure there is something that said, I think some celebrities actually can blend in. Chris Evans is a popular one where he puts on a baseball hat and, like he's almost, indistinguishable from any other random person walking around because it's one of those things where when if you travel with a large party or if you travel, anytime we're out in the park and we see those VIP tour guides walking around, I immediately start looking for anybody that's around them to see if I notice them. And it's about half the time when it's like either it could be a celebrity or it could just be someone that's hired a VIP tour guide. But most of the time it's going to be a celebrity. More if they're not so much if they're just walking around the park. If they're going in and out of one of those backstage areas, then it's maybe a little bit more of a hint that it's like, oh, this might be a celebrity. Let me take a look.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen a few that if you didn't know that there was a VIP tour guide that was there, or if you didn't know to look for someone, you wouldn't even notice them. But there are some celebrities that would, I could see, like Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, not being able, or, like if the Big Show were to go and start walking around Walt Disney World,
Yeah.
he'd stick out like a sore thumb, or like Zach Ryder, like one of those guys, those are people that you can definitely pick out in a crowd. So, like they would have a hard time. And I'm sure once they got a crowd, it would be hard for them. It's different if you, get stopped in the street. There's only going to be so many different people that are going to come up to you. But at a theme park, there's not really a whole lot more. If you get stuck in the middle of Main Street, there's not really a whole lot of different places to go to try and avoid that. So
Right.
I could see why, getting a VIP tour guide at that point would make sense.
Right. Big Show wears a baseball cap. He's still
He's just
not getting away with that.
right. Yeah.
But it is also it's me being someone who's a fan of this. Like I had a very awkward moment at the airport coming home on Wednesday from Arizona, or Tuesday rather, from Arizona, and I was there for the wrestling stuff and different things like that. But they had my wife sent me over to the airport bar to check out and see if they had any cider and also to see what kind of drafts they had on tap. So I went over to go do that. And as I did it, I didn't notice there was like a wrestler sitting next to me. And I left him alone because I was mortified, embarrassed, and he shot me a look like, you better not even consider offer. If you even think of asking me for a selfie right now, I'm gonna bust your phone. So I kind of just awkwardly walked over, went over next what they had on draft, casually looked over, and then he looked at me like, and I was like, because he probably thought this guy's full of crap here. He's not here to look for what's on draft. He's just here because he sees me sitting at this bar and he wants to be annoying.
Right.
But I'm sure that at Disney, it's got to be like some of the most one of the, because I'll never forget. I think you were with me when Six Flags Great Adventure and getting off the ride and standing right there in the VIP Fast Pass is someone who I went something to the extent of, oh, a guy looks like Mick Foley, and I think the response was, well, who looks like Mick Foley? That's just Mick Foley.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's got to be tough in a way. I mean, you can't keep making millions and millions of dollars, but at the same time, they want to go and enjoy these things too without 100 things going on. I'll always remember the story of Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon closing Disneyland Park for a period of time so they can go to ride the rides.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you know, when you're Mariah Carey, you know, it'd be like, I'm sure if, you know, Tom Brady decided, hey, I'm gonna buy Disney, you know, rent out Disneyland for a day or, you know, for a few hours so I can go and do it, you know, like some of these people, like I said, they have more money than they know what to do with. So, but
right.
like,
especially Brady, Bell too, and both.
Yeah,
he might even be.
If you had $12,000 to burn and was just, you're not allowed to use this on bills or, you know, anything, you know, you got to use it on something fun. I would like, do you think that this is worth $12,000? Because it's hard to put a price on some of these things.
It is. I mean, I will say, I would be almost uncomfortable with having the two tour guides because I feel like you'd have to keep talking to them the entire day, and you'd have to. I know my wife and I once did a snowshoeing tour through the woods, and it was a private snowshoeing tour. It was just me and her and a tour guide. And I was even like, at some point, like annoyed that the tour guide was there because I felt like I needed to keep talking to them the entire time.
Well, I mean, yeah, there is something to be said for that, sure. But I mean, in my experience, all of the tour guides that I have, we've done on a couple of like the smaller scale tours, and you know, they're very personable. You know, their job is to, you know, be a tour guide. So it's not like this is someone that we're picking up. And so, oh, like, hey, by the way, you know, some random person in guest relations, can you go and do this tour? Like you have to, it's a very specific set of people that do the tours. And there's a whole script that you have to go through. And there's a whole other, you know, it's a very particular type of person that does the tour guides. There's one that I'm blanking on his name now, but he is the epitome of who you want to be your tour guide because he is just so much fun. He has the best personality. All of the regular cast members know him because like you know, he's just one of those people that has that kind of electric personality.
Well, you know, if you're a tour guide for these tours too, you're probably walking away with a significant tip as well.
Yeah, I think it is one of the few roles that you can be tipped as well.
Right.
But
most of them you can't. Like I know when you go even get a drink in most of like Epcot countries, you can't even tip them.
Yeah, most if you are a regular server, so if you're at a bar or at a restaurant, like a sit down restaurant where you have an actual server, they can accept tips because they are tipped roles. But most other, you know, if you were to say, you know, to like when I was in FastPass, you know, a couple of people, they were like, oh, you know, they were really appreciative of my help. So they tried to tip me and, you know, you have to decline it 3 times. And then if they still offer it, depending on how much money it is, you either have to go back and tell your manager or you can, you know, pocket it, but you have to refuse 3 times. And if after that, then they insist upon it, then you're allowed to accept it. And, you know, there's a whole lot of other, you know, rules and restrictions and stuff that go onto it. But that's kind of the brief part of it. But yeah, like a lot of people will use the tour guides, especially like on the lower end, like a regular VIP tour, as you know, they're basically glorified babysitters, unfortunately, a lot of times. Yeah. Where if you are not that person that needs that backstage entrance and, you know, like all of these other things, they're basically a babysitter for your kids, especially if you have like babies or infants that are with you. You just, you know, let the tour guide handle all that stuff, and then you go, you know, off on your own venturing.
That's crazy. I wonder, like it says there, other things you could add to it. I'm wondering if they're allowing you to go around and kind of like if you wanted like a free set of ears, they'd probably give you those too, I'm assuming.
Like I feel like that's one of those things where it's like it says and many more possibilities based on guest request. So it might be more of like a hey, can we go check out the utilidors? Can we do a backstage tour of this thing? And depending
Uh,
on if you're allowed to do that or not, maybe if it's one of those you're like, hey, can we go? Can we get a backstage tour of a haunted mansion? Probably not. If we can get a tour of this random backstage area, maybe they'll let you kind of sneak a peek.
or maybe that like that tour we talked about a couple weeks ago where it was about the cooking, going and doing
Yeah,
different. Yeah, that they'll probably let you do.
yeah, maybe, yeah, but like that, there's a lot of that goes into that kind of thing. So I'm sure, for the thing is that for $12,000, you want to feel like you're getting your money's worth, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the tour guides are probably like they're less hesitant to say no to you because they're like, you're spending $12,000 to do this. I
Right.
want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. But based on things like backstage access, front of the line access, the tour, you know, that and the thing is for a lot of those VIP tours, they can get expensive. This one is for 12 hours. So you're essentially paying $1,000 per hour for
Yeah.
6 people.
That's crazy. I mean, the idea that like you get to sit down because I'm sure you don't have to wait online for food too. The restaurants.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just go and sit down. Well, so hey, if you have $12,000 and do it, by all means, if you've done this, let us know. We'd love to have you on and talk to you about your experience. I would love to hear what you did. But that's definitely for me again, it would have to be like I won a $15,000 shopping spree to Disney if I was going to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, well, that is probably going to wrap us up there. I know you got to get to your Ren Fair, and I got to start to keep preparing here for the Super Bowl. But before we get out of here, as we had said earlier in the show, as kind of a hook, do you have a prediction for the big game later today?
I'm going to say Patriots over the Rams, 34-27.
Yeah, I actually think it, kind of like you a bit. I don't think the Rams are going to do it. I think the Rams are, their Super Bowl was, oh my God, we've been here for 2 weeks. And it's been a real shame because, no offense to Jared Goff or any of the Rams, but we were real close to getting Brady versus Breeze and 2 weeks of hype, building that up. And that the Super Bowl, in my opinion, is built off the stories. Last year, in a really weird way, Nick Foles kind of captured the hearts of everybody a little bit because it was like 2 weeks of him and his story and everything. Now it's just like you have 2 weeks of this. The entire hook has been Tom Brady's old. That's been the entire story. He's old. He's hanging in there. Why is he still doing this? What does he have left to prove? And there hasn't been much there for the Rams. So I feel like with the Super Bowl, when the Super Bowl is real good, I look back to those. The one I remember was the 2 weeks of hype when the Giants made it in 07. And it was all about like, oh my God, they almost ended the Patriots' undefeated season in week 17. Can they do it? Can they beat them? That was like a 2 weeks of hype where you were like, let's go. Or even, somebody, a great YouTuber who I follow at KTO, official KTO. He does great NFL videos. He just put up one Super Bowl 10 years ago, which was the Cardinals going against the Steelers. That was a fun one because of Kurt Warner. But there hasn't been too much to sink through your teeth into. So if I'm going to go, I'm going to say something like 27-10. I think the Pats win this one easy.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we're all sitting there. I hope it's not like the worst Super Bowl of all time, in my opinion, the New York Super Bowl, where it was Broncos and Seahawks, and the Seahawks destroyed the Broncos, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
Peyton got wiped, and it was like 34-3. It was it Peyton or was it? Yeah, I think it was Broncos and Seahawks in that one, and Seahawks won, and then the Seahawks came back and played the Patriots the year after, and that was obviously
and that was when they were like on the goal line, didn't give it to Marshawn Lynch, and like tried to throw it, and like, what are you doing? Yeah, I remember that one
like 10 times. I know Cam. I think Cam was in the Super Bowl once, wasn't he?
He was, I think, right at the beginning. I think they also lost to the Pets. I know
No,
Panthers played the Pats at one point.
I think they lost to Peyton and the Broncos in Peyton's last year.
Oh, okay.
I think that was
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I meant, yeah.
You know, hopefully it'll be a good game. That's all you can ask for. I'll never forget the game 2 years ago when the Falcons were destroying the Pats, and nobody at the party I was hosting was caring. Like, it was just nonstop. You know, we just got engaged. Pictures of the engagement. I'm sitting on the couch, like, ready to pull my hair out. The only one who could care about this, and I'm trying to calm everyone down and tell them about, hey, it's Tom Brady. You never know, he might come back. And then, boom, middle of the fourth quarter, suddenly no one's talking about the engagement. Everyone's involved watching the game, and they had that big epic comeback. So hopefully it'll be a good game, and we will see. We will also see you guys next week. Keep your eyes peeled. Definitely subscribe if you like what you see, and hit that bell, because we may be on with a bonus episode throughout the week and something else continuing down the journey here. Is there anything you wanted to say, Steve, before we get on out of here?
No, just usual. See you real soon. Have a magical week.
All right. Same goes here. And if you're watching the Super Bowl, enjoy. And we will talk to you guys again real soon.